Conor that I know honored, his word, honored the promises that he made. This is some new Conor now that pulls out with a sore toe, that fucked over his most loyal friend, someone that showed him unmatched loyalty, while paying people that did him over in this. When this is all said and done, I'm planning to do a book. I'm gonna call it Proper, because that's exactly what happened here. Conor his most loyal friend, and as a result, he himself got over.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the Russian Hammer himself, Artem Lobov. Artem, great to see you. What's going on? What are you up to?
Yes, good to see you too, Andrew. I've just finished my sparring this morning, so I'm a little bit marked up. My apologies, not that I ever look good, so, not a big deal, I suppose, but...
Could you tell us in your own words how this story began with him, how this beef began, and how we got here?
Yeah, so the beef began, basically, it all began with Khabib, as much as we know about Conor being the trash talker and getting under people's skin, when it actually came to the rivalry between Conor and Khabib, it was Khabib that began trash talking Conor. He started calling him chicken and, saying all these things, even though we would see each other often, at shows, and always were very respectful with Khabib, and always shook hands and, um, and I don't know why he decided to do that. My personal opinion that it's probably his manager Ali that told him to go at Conor, because obviously Conor was such a big star, and he probably told him, "Listen, you need to start calling him out. That's what's going to help you, build your name." But anyway, yeah, that's what he was doing. And then I got asked in an interview in a Russian outlet, about that, and I said, listen, I couldn't just ignore it, because he was calling Conor chicken, which in Russia is a very, very severe insult, to a man. You get killed for an insult like that. So I had to address it. There was no way I wasn't going to have my brother's back. So, but then 2 years went by, and during those 2 years, I saw Khabib many times at shows. We walked past each other. He never said anything until that time in New York, and then he came over to me alone first and started saying like, "Oh, what are you saying there?" And I was like, "Look, Khabib, if someone called your brother a chicken, you would have answered, you would respond, you would have to respond. I was no different, I had to respond to you." And he just, "Oh, just don't say that again," or whatever he said. I can't remember exactly. And he walked off. But then a minute later, he came back with 10 guys, and suddenly he had more questions. One-on-one, he had no more questions for me. But 10 against one, he had a lot more questions then. And then obviously everything happened the way it happened. Then me and Zubaira were meant to fight in October in Canada. But unfortunately, they jumped in again. A gang of them jumped into the corner, alone. He wouldn't dare, jump in one-on-one against Conor. Not a chance, because we see how he behaves in his fights, MMA fights, one-on-one. He runs away from his opponents. He taps standing up, not even trying to defend. But when there's a gang with him, he's suddenly brave.
We talk about that Malignaggi fight. Do you ever feel you should have gone to bare-knuckle sooner, that you could have done some legendary things in that sport? Was that the perfect sport for you, do you think, for a while?
It was definitely perfect sport for me. You said that right, but I do not wish to go there sooner, because UFC, let's be honest, UFC is UFC. It is an incredible organization. They do a lot of things, all the things basically beautiful. Like look what they've built. And being a UFC fighter, that's what allowed me, to negotiate a massive deal in BKFC. That's what put me on the map. They helped shine light on me. So no, I do not regret going there when I did. I enjoyed my time in the UFC. It was incredible, and I'm very thankful for everything. So everything happened at the right time.
Best moment of your career so far?
Oof, that's a hard one. That's hard. I'll be honest with you, hard, because I loved my time on the Ultimate Fighter. That's like just incredible time for me. No worries, no nothing. You've got no bills. Just train and fight. Oh my God, like just incredible. I loved being in there. It was just amazing. Uh, Obviously beating the two-time world boxing champion, and settling a score, for myself and Conor, that was incredible as well. My first fight with Jason Knight, it's the Hall of Famer now as the greatest fight in modern bare-knuckle history. That was amazing as well. I mean, geez, so many moments, so many cool moments in there. It's really, really hard to put a finger on one. I love them all, every single one of those.
After all these years, that's why I'm very happy to speak to you, because you're a big character in this sport. You're part of a lot of the history in this sport. When that brawl broke out, UFC 229, Khabib, Conor, Zubaira, and the guys, I was right in the top drinking proper 12. And then I hear this crazy story that you should be given 5% of the company. What happened there, and will this get settled?
Yeah, well, so the court case is now scheduled for 9th of December. So what happened was, I negotiated, the greatest deal of all time for Conor McGregor. I negotiated a deal which was for 100% ownership for Conor. He wouldn't have to put a single cent into it of his own money. So the other side was taking on all the costs, and only the profits would be split 50-50, which means giving him the full control of the company. He is the boss. He is the Mr. Whiskey. He's got it all. He shook my hand, looked me dead in the eye, and said, Artem, 5% is yours no matter what. And then basically fucked me over when the time came to paying, That's what he did. But I genuinely believe that's, now that I've had some time to reflect and think about it, I think that's because Conor himself is not in the right mindset, This is not the Conor that I know, Conor that I know, showed up to fights with no ligaments in his knees, completely messed up. The pullout was not an option for him. Conor that I know honored, his word, honored the promises that he made. This is some new Conor now that pulls out with a sore toe, that fucked over his most loyal friend, someone that showed him unmatched loyalty, while paying people that did him over in this. When this is all said and done, I'm planning to do a book. I'm gonna call it Proper, because that's exactly what happened here. Conor his most loyal friend, and as a result, he himself got over. I will bring everything to light. In life, one of the strongest things in life, the second most strongest thing in life is time. No one can defeat time. Time beats everybody. And there's only one thing that can withstand the test of time, and that is truth. And that's what I have. I've got the truth. I just need a little time. And I will show the world who was the most loyal, who showed Conor much loyalty, and who was the snakes. So just give it time, and you will see it all, guys.
That's a hell of a title. Yeah, you still speak with loyalty. Does the real Conor McGregor show up to the White House and beat Michael Chandler, do you think?
Listen, if it's going to be the real Conor McGregor, he can do it all. He can become a president. He can destroy Michael Chandler, but not this guy right now. So we need to get the old Conor back first. If it's going to be this lad here that I don't recognize, he can't do anything. This guy is in serious, serious trouble, and no one can help him other than himself. It needs to be him first. He needs to be the guy that makes commitment to not drink and whatever else he's doing, all the partying. He needs to get back in the gym, get the old Conor back, and the old Conor, the first thing he will want, the old Conor, is a friend like me back, a most loyal friend, a guy that had his back throughout everything, a guy that when, every training camp, we would all go away and everyone would get paid on the training camp, rightfully so, because it was hard work, and he would put money in front of me as well, and I would be the only one to say, no, my brother, I will never accept a cent for you for training. If I help you build the business, fair enough, you give me my cut. So I've never taken a cent from this guy for nothing. I showed that my loyalty goes beyond money, and it wasn't easy to do that. I would be in need of money back then, like really desperately needing money, and I would literally be with my own thoughts going, well, just take it. Why don't you take it? And then I would say to myself, well, you're saying that you're doing it for loyalty, not for money. Well, then prove it. What proves that I'm not doing it for money better than not actually taking the money when it's put right in front of you? And I did that. So I know the kind of loyalty I'm talking about. You won't find another man like me as loyal as me. So I feel that as soon as Conor sobers up and the old Conor is back, he will want me by his side. He will apologize for everything that he's done to me, for everything that he said to me, all the names that he called me. He will apologize for that, and then we can move on and continue our journey, and then win. There's many big wins in store for us.
There's a bit of an Ireland-Russia theme on this card. Nurmagomedov Hughes. How do you feel about the main event, and how do you feel about it as an Irish-Russian?
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to tell everybody. It's not really, Russia versus Ireland. This is team versus team, and even our thing, Conor, me, and versus Khabib. This wasn't Ireland, Dagestan. This was team versus team. We have a lot of respect for Dagestan. We have a lot of friends. Conor before record the video message to another Dagestani friend of mine. So this is just team versus team. Their team versus our team, and now it's Paul Hughes's team versus Khabib's team again. They are strong teams. It's a great rivalry. It's great for the fans to watch. It's going to be vicious in there. It's going to be fireworks are going to be going off. But yeah, it's going to be good. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we'll leave it all in the cage, shake hands, and move on.
You've seen some great generations of featherweights come and go. Who's the greatest featherweight MMA fighter for you?
Like you have to say Conor. Like, come on, you have to be honest, because to me, people always talk about, oh, but he defended only this time, or he didn't defend, or this guy defended. Well, I would like to ask you, what's more impressive, climbing the Wicklow Mountain 11 times or climbing Mount Everest once? Climbing Mount Everest once, of course. So you're holding against him the fact that he didn't want to fight challengers. He wanted to fight another champion at a higher weight class. Like, that's a much harder thing to do, right? That's what he wanted to do. So how can you hold this against the fighter? You want to say, oh, I wanted a harder challenge, and that's why you want to share on me? No. He wanted the harder challenge, and he went for it. And when he conquered that challenge, he wanted to take on a man in a different sport that no one ever defeated. That was an even bigger challenge. So you're trying to hold this against Conor, the fact that he challenged himself every single time to the as much as possible. He's the guy that challenged himself the most. He's the guy that the first two-weight world champion, hold them at the same time. So as a featherweight, so he's the greatest featherweight. That's reality. The other guys before him were incredible, of course, as well, like Jose Aldo and now Tapuri as well, incredible. But nobody achieved what Conor did. He's the greatest of all time. That's just facts.
Artem Lobov, the man, the Russian Hammer, maximum respect. Thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you so much, Andrew.